The morning sun casts golden light over a quiet town. At the very end of a small street stands an old house, modest, a little worn, but still standing strong. Inside, an elderly man, Walter, slowly stirs awake. His breath is heavy, his body stiff with age. His hand reaches for his glasses, but before he can fully sit up, a soft whimper catches his attention. Beside his bed, Maggie, a golden retriever with warm brown eyes, watches him expectantly. Her tail thumps against the wooden floor, patient yet eager. Walter sighs, scratching her ears. "All right, girl, I'm up." Maggie wags her tail, satisfied. The house is quiet. Framed photos on the walls tell stories of a past filled with love. Walter in his younger days, his wife, his daughter Emily. But dust clings to the corners, and time has faded the laughter that once filled these rooms. As Walter shuffles to the kitchen, Maggie follows closely. He pours a cup of coffee, just one cup. His gaze drifts to the empty chair across from him. His fingers tighten around the mug. Leaning back, he sighs, rubbing his tired eyes. Outside, the world moves on, but inside, Walter lingers in the past. The leash clicks, and Maggie perks up. They step outside, into the crisp morning air. The town park is alive with movement. Children playing, joggers passing by, couples chatting. Walter sits on his usual bench, Maggie resting at his feet. His eyes glaze over as he watches the children play. Memories flood in, his wife laughing, little Emily running through the grass. The warmth of those days feels so distant now. Walter all of a sudden thinks of Emily. Still no word from Emily. Walter's expression hardens. He shakes his head. Nope. He adjusts his coat, looking away. At home, an unopened letter sits on the table. The envelope is addressed in familiar handwriting. Emily's. Walter's eyes linger on it, unread, unopened, unresolved. Maggie sniffs the letter, nudging it toward him. Walter exhales, running a hand over his face. "Not today, girl." He turns away. That night, rain patters against the windows. Walter sits in his worn armchair, staring at an old photo, him, his wife, and Emily as a child. Maggie watches him closely, sensing something in the air. She pads over and rests her head on his lap. Walter sighs. "You're the only one who stayed." "Huh." He strokes her fur absent-mindedly. His gaze shifts to the phone on the table. A lifetime of silence weighs on him, but then he picks it up. His hands are unsteady as he dials. It rings, once, twice. "Hello," Emily's voice. Walter's throat tightens. "Dad," her voice is hesitant, finally. Barely above a whisper, he says, "Hi, sweetheart." A breath of relief escapes Emily. "I didn't think you'd call." Walter exhales shakily. "Been meaning to." The words don't come easily, but they come. There's a long pause. Then Emily asks, "Can I come see you?" Walter hesitates, eyes flickering to the photo of his wife. The ache in his chest is deep, but the answer is clear. "Yeah, I'd like that." Days pass. Walter tidies up his home, something he hasn't done in years. He dusts off old photo frames, his fingers lingering on one of Emily as a little girl. There's a nervous energy in his movements. Then the doorbell rings. Walter stills. Maggie rushes to the door, tail wagging excitedly. Walter takes a deep breath. Then slowly, he opens the door. Emily stands there, older now, tired, but there's warmth in her eyes. "Hi, Dad." Walter's lips part, but words fail him. Instead, he steps aside. "Come in." Emily kneels, petting Maggie, who licks her excitedly. "She's beautiful," she says, smiling up at Walter. They sit in the living room, coffee cups between them. The conversation starts slow, small talk, safe topics. But soon, the years begin to melt away. Walter shares stories. Emily listens. The past begins to heal. That night, as Walter watches Maggie sleep by the fireplace, he feels something he hasn't in a long time. Peace. But time is fragile. One evening, Walter grips the table, gasping for breath. His vision blurs. Maggie barks frantically. Running to Emily, who rushes in. "Dad." Walter's breath is shallow. His eyes flick between Emily's face and Maggie's worried gaze. His lips part, but the words don't come. Walter lies still, his face pale but peaceful. Emily sits beside him, holding his hand. "You were never alone, Dad," she whispers, her voice breaking. Walter's lips tremble into a weak smile. Grips hers. His gaze finds Maggie. Curled at his feet, his breath catches, and then his grip loosens. Emily lets out a quiet sob. Weeks later, the house is quiet again. Maggie sits by the window, waiting. Emily kneels beside her, stroking her fur. "Let's go for a walk, girl." Maggie hesitates, then stands. They step outside. The town park is as it always was, kids playing. Joggers running, couples laughing. But now, Walter's bench sits empty. Maggie runs ahead, just like she used to. Emily watches, smiling through tears. The sun rises in the distance. A new day begins.